do have the picks and bans coming out now, Spud. So we're going to
Whoa.
be jumping headfirst into this. Again, Joanna's been banned out instantly from H2k and Elise from Team Property. I saw in the chat there, was Atrox banned in game number 1? No, he wasn't. I believe he was actually picked up for H2k.
Yeah, he. No, wait. Was
Oh, it
he?
was the other
No,
way
I think it was
around.
Team Property that
Yeah,
picked him
Vi
up
was
last game.
H2k and Team Property was it Atrox, wasn't it? Yeah, that's the one.
Indeed, they got the Artrox Thresh, which I thought was going to be a really powerful combo, but clearly they never managed to get it off the ground. And this time, Thresh has been banned out. It's interesting. Sometimes you see teams ban out champions that they don't think are high enough priority to first pick, but they like to get on the second or third. So they actually end up kind of like trying to get their priority first pick that they can then take. And if they're not going to have the second, third picks, they actually then ban out these kind of second, third priority champions. It's always very unique to each team because of how each team rates individual champions, though.
Yeah, well, actually, Pulse, good guy Pulse, he's not casting right now, but he was filling me in with some information about Team Property, so all of this credit goes to him. Apparently, some info on Team Property while we're waiting for these bans to come about. Mima used to play for them at top lane. Fat Mama used to play in Millennium as their support, and their playstyle is standard. They tried to capitalize on mistakes, and they are more objective based, so they're not going to be that hyper aggressive kind of unit. So thanks again, Pulse, for just filling me in with some of that. And also, they're first place at the IESF Sweden qualifiers, so they're a pretty good team.
Yeah, well, as we mentioned, most of them are in the Challenger tier, if not all of them. So very, very solid team, picking out that Corki, who has really apparently become numero uno in terms of AD carries, back to his I think, Season 1 position of being god of all AD carries.
Yeah, and you know, it's interesting as well, Spud, how quickly this game changed and how it develops depending on the patches, depending on the minor changes of items, as we mentioned previously with the Phage and Triforce. So it's always fascinating to me to kind of find out what the players at the top level of play are delving into and what they're trying to mix up, what they're trying to throw in there to catch other players off guard. What I would say now about Corki is it's not really a surprise anymore. It's not really a hidden overpowered champion or strong champion because pretty much everyone's picking him. We've seen people like Reckless taking him in the US Challenger Series. Corki was one of the most played ADs last EUS Challenger Series, so it's no big surprise to me that he's getting locked in. You're not going to have that Thresh Corki bot lane. Last time I believe it was Zyra Corki, if my memory serves me correctly though, Spud.
Yeah, and they did that to counter out the Thresh pickup, but
Yeah.
I believe it was actually the Corki picked up by H2k that game. But yeah, it's a funny kind of thing, because you remember way back when Heimerdinger's Colossi existed, like 7-8 weeks ago now probably? They used to pick Corki sometimes, and we were just highly confused by that. And the guy who is now in Ninjas in Pajamas, Freeze, used to pull a really, really solid Corki out at just sometimes at the drop of a hat, and it worked out really, really well for them. So, you know, he's kind of been recognized as being strong for a while, just not strong enough to make him like a high priority pick and to make him worth learning his unique playstyle. But now I think with the Trinity Force changes, kind of may have pushed him a little bit over the top.
Yeah, definitely. And it was also interesting to see that, as you said, last time it was H2k first picking him. So Zax has insta-locked him, and now Kestrel has. So they're both like, okay, Corki is top tier AD carry right now. We both want him desperately, desperately. And as you say, Freeze, he was a very strong Corki before this all started to come, so he's a bit of a trendsetter in that case. I remember he played a really strong Draven, and then he kind of flirted with characters like Caitlyn and Corki when Draven was banned or when it was picked. But Corki's going to be going up against Caitlyn and I would imagine Alistar. I haven't seen Alistar jungle for a very, very long time at the top tier level of play. And also Corki's going to be with Sona. So normally you want to pick Corki with someone with hard CC. That's kind of what Crescendo is in a nutshell.
Ah, right. Well, there is actually a placeholder pick here, and it is Alistar, who is Zyra apparently. So gonna give you the old spiel. Placeholder picks are we're playing on the live client. Placeholder picks are when people do not have all the characters. They just pick a champion, then they say what that champion represents. So in this case, Alistar is Zyra. When we reach the end of the champion select, we'll quit out of the lobby. Hopefully it won't bug, and then we'll remake the lobby, picking the same champions, but this time with Zyra. So we'll see what Team Property choose to go with to counter that out. I am assuming they are aware of it. Ari versus Kassadin. That would be an interesting pick.
It would. I'm not sure if maybe they're thinking about lane switch ups here. I'm not entirely sure, but regardless, we are going to have a few more picks coming in. Renekton has just been locked in there for Team Property, so it's going to be the 10th and final pickup from H2k. So judging from their lineup right now, I'd expect it to be their top laner. I would probably think that Jarvan is going to be going in jungle, although we have seen Jarvan at top and indeed in the mid as well, Spuddington. So it's really anyone's guess at this point.
It's surprising to see him in the mid lane when you've got that Kassadin already locked in.
Yeah.
There's always that possibility, though, that Corki could end up going mid with Sona against Kassadin. That would be pretty difficult for him to deal with straight up. So he may, if that did happen, then you might actually see things like that Jarvan being a lot more viable in the mid lane. But definitely a lot of room for maneuvering this game. Certainly, if you've got that Zyra Caitlyn lane, that can push really, really hard. But it's probably actually only roughly equivalent in a straight-up 2v2 compared to Corki Sona. So we will see what they choose to go for. Aatrox being hovered over for the last pick. I am a little bit behind you, Metas. Have they locked that in?
They did lock it in, and then the remake came about. So I am going to need to remake the lobby here, Spud. So please take it over while I do so, because I'm probably going to be about 5-10 seconds. Probably going to answer more questions, I guess.
Indeed. So just to make it clear, our understanding of the bugs we were experiencing is that the lobby would, like, related to who made the lobby. Sometimes it would work when you spectated. Sometimes it didn't. Sometimes it did. Who knows? But hopefully this should be able to work. We never know. We never know. It does bug out quite often. Metas has hopefully made the lobby by now. We'll be getting the players back into it once again. Hopefully the game will load up and allow it to spectate for, you know, the first time in a couple of hours. But I'm afraid that's just the penalty of client bugs and the spectating. Sorry, not the placeholder system.
Yeah, so I have remade the lobby. We do have the players joining in thick and fast. So Bass, if you could join as well, mate, that would be much appreciated. We've got 6 players in already, so it is going pretty quick, Spud, which is always good news for us. Less time to fill up. But regardless, yeah, people asking in chat that they've heard it's a 2-0 to H2k already. That's not the case. It's currently 1-0 to H2k. These are best of 3 formats. If that was true, this game would already be done and dusted. There would be no need for this game to be played. So everything on the line for Team Property right here, right now. They have to win this game or they lose this best of 3. It's that simple. So first game we were informed was fairly one-sided in the side of H2k. At the end, 16-3 was the scoreline. So Team Property got a pretty large mountain to climb here, Spud.
Yeah, that's one of the things about really good teams, though, is that they can grasp hold of a small lead early and snowball it super, super hard. Sometimes you can't avoid falling behind in that early game. You can just get unlucky, you can get outplayed in a really big fight. And, you know, if you give, as a kind of an overly exaggerated example, if you give someone like a pentakill at level 1, then that's going to be, like, that can be a huge influence on the way that the game will go, because he's bound to dominate his lane as a result of that, and you can snowball that advantage. You can take objectives because he's such a team fight presence, etc., etc. That is the mark of a good team. Thing is, though, the mark of a really good team is one that can lose that early game and then still come back. And we saw it earlier with Copenhagen Wolves versus Reason Gaming, where they came, you know, a little bit behind early game. They were, you know, 5-6k behind, but they still managed to pull it back and come back with a win at 30 minutes.
Yeah, it's very true, because the teams that can bounce back are typically the teams that have a completely level head. They don't let things get to them. They don't press the self-destruct button or go emo. They're like, okay, yeah, we're a few towers behind. Yes, we're 5-10 kills behind, but we can still do this, guys. We have the confidence in ourselves. We have the belief, the clarity to push this one forward and get the big important victory. And we've seen this time and time again in the EOS Challenger Series, where one team looks like they're quite a far way behind, and then suddenly they make a couple big plays and they're right back in it and they actually end up winning. We're back in the lobby right again, like ladies and gentlemen, so it is going to be the picks and bans coming through thick and fast because you've already gone through this process. As we said previously, Alistair was Zyra, that's the reason for the remake, and we have a Vi, Renekton, Corki, Sona, and also Ari for Team Property, Kassadin, Caitlyn, Atrox, and Jarvan, alongside the Zyra for H2k.
Alright, so when they've got that full lineup locked in, hopefully we'll actually just go to the delay timer, and then it's kind of the final countdown, as it were, to see whether it actually works or not. We live in hope, ladies and gentlemen. It will be a very exciting 3 minutes for me, as I try and, pray to all that's holy and unholy as to whether it actually loads up. Regardless, though, with the full lineups, yeah, you mentioned it definitely seems like H2k are going to have the advantage in terms of late game scaling here. But other than that, these seem like quite similar teams.
I'm really trying not to sing the final countdown song. That's exactly what came into my head when you said that. And you said that an exciting 3 minutes. For me, it's going to be terrifying, because I'm going to hope so much that this actually works and we don't get the same issue. But yeah, the two teams are very interesting. Lots of AoE, and I said this so many times I feel like a broken record, but every time you take Jarvan, it's probably going to be Sona or Zyra picked alongside it because of the AoE potential that you have on the cards. We are into the delay right now. A couple of people asking as well about Jankos and also Vandernoob, because obviously they weren't previously in the H2k lineup. Reason for that we've been informed is that JF Jankos is replacing N760 on a permanent basis, so he's actually in the team now, and Vandernoob joined the team as a result of Super A's not being able to attend the event. So hopefully that's solved some confusion for you. Regardless though, Spud, we got 2 minutes 30 on the delay, so we're going to cut to a very quick commercial break, and when you hopefully rejoin us, we'll be live in game number 2 between Team Property and H2k Gaming. Keep your fingers and your toes crossed, guys. This is going to be a bumpy one. We'll be right back.
And I know now we're getting older. The world we built is slipping through our fingers. We're running out of time. But you are the one I've chosen, and I won't lay still, living left behind, imprisoned by this love. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. I could feel your heartbeat. I could feel somewhere you're looking down. 'Cause it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna breathe. And it's you I'm loving, and it's you that I wanna need. And it's you that I wanna need.
Guys, it worked! It's worked! H2k versus Team Property in professional mode. Now, we have got a ward down there and looking for invades here, but this is DreamHack Bucharest. We have an actual game that is functioning and everything, and I am Spuddington, joined by Metas.
Hey Spud, hey viewers, indeed it did work. And I think we may have found a minor solution, or they actually just coincidentally fixed it while we were doing all this process. But regardless, that's not important. The important part is we are in for game number 2 between H2k Gaming and Team Property from DreamHack Bucharest. This is a quarterfinals matchup, currently resides at a 1-0 for H2k, Spud. So, going to be quite interesting to see how this one pans out. Looks as though H2k are going for early aggression.
Yeah, actually, both teams have got some pretty significant early wards out. H2k went into the enemy jungle, put down that one actually, covering. Actually, no. What they want is they want to get the edge to see if there's going to be a 2v1 swap up here. They've got that ward behind the bottom tower. Look, see. So this way they will know if Overpower needs to rotate away from that mid lane, because they'll know if Corki is in that bot lane, and as a result, they can just swap him out if that were to happen. As it happens, though, it looks like they're going to be getting the 2-on-2, which I think is what they wanted anyway. Yeah,
I just saw that Bass has updated the scoreboard. I was about to also say that the scoreboards were the wrong way around, but they have been fixed now, so regardless, not a big deal. But we do actually have the invade coming in from the blue team of Team Property. They're going to steal away the red. Atrox comes around just in time to find out what they're probably already expecting. Meanwhile, Jankos has picked up his blue and now thinking about maybe coming into mid lane. I thought there could be some lane switch ups coming about, Spud, but nope, everything's going to be standard.
No, the only real thing that happened there was that ward in the bottom behind the tower, and Vanderleeb actually getting aggressive in the bot lane.
Oh, they are, and actually Kestrel forced a flash away within an inch of his life, also used barrier, so both those summoner spells have been burnt from the AD carry, whereas Kellever is still up and very healthy with his barrier and also flash. Kestrel's going to have to recall to spawn. This is going to allow Caitlyn to get a bit of an XP alongside a CS advantage, so big plays right from the get-go. That is the power of a Zyra support. You catch them in grasping roots, lots of damage will follow.
Yeah, it also means that Jankos knows he can be very secure right now. He looks like he's trying to circle around, go for this gank, but actually maybe not. He may just wait for the next wave. No, I'm actually a little bit surprised he didn't at least steal the golems there. But regardless, he was a little bit more secure while he was stealing that red buff because his own bot lane was so much stronger.
Oh, mid lane, here comes Jarvan from the side. Looked as though Hilberto may have been having some DC issues there, was stood still for quite a while, but regardless will manage to escape. Didn't have to burn any summoner spells. Speaking of summoner spells, Zaxxas actually burnt his flash at top lane with a nice played gank coming in for Fizzin on Vi. So going to be rinsing and repeating again, trying to pick up this kill on Zaxxas, who still has the Bloodwell, so it's always very dangerous to tower dive an Atrox when the Bloodwell is up, Spud, because suddenly you can find yourself getting double killed.
Yeah, it's almost not worth taking that risk because it's such a short cooldown on it. However, Jarvan just kind of bypasses Vi, who's going to be stealing away the golems with the help of Renekton. I don't think he can stop them.
Yeah, that is going to be a free golem there. Jarvan stealing away the small one, of course, isn't worth as much gold or XP, so in that case, Fizzin's going to be pretty happy. Both junglers still occupying top. Nice slice and dice from Zyrax there at the top, just getting away from the flag and drag from Jankos.
Yeah, so kind of just a case where, you know, getting a good bit of early control. Worth noting though, Corki in this bot lane not having the best time right now. 18 CS to 23, starting to get harassed down again. Has only got a Doran's Blade versus Doran's Blade and boots on Caitlyn, so quite a lot of trouble in that just straight up 2-on-2 matchup. So almost surprised they didn't go for the swap out.
Yeah, I honestly thought they would do. 90 caliber net and Piltover Peacemaker connects, and it's not just the case that they're behind on CS and the like, but also, as I mentioned previously, Kestrel has no summoner spells up, whereas Celiva has both. So they can afford to be a bit more aggressive. Celiva also has a few minion CS experience over Kestrel, so should be hitting level 4 and therefore level 6 beforehand if everything goes smooth sailing. So I wouldn't be too surprised here, Spud, if we saw Vi come down to bot lane and try and make some big plays. Seems to be exactly what is on the cards right now, going through the Drake pit and actually going around the back.
And Jarvan is actually setting up for a dive right now. This could be really bad if Vi comes in for the counter.
She is walking on top of a ward, however, so Fizzin just running right in. Does not seem to care and forced to flash instantly. So that was definitely not what they were hoping for, Team Property. In the meanwhile, actually, Ari's coming head to head with Overpow. Quite a bit of harassment from both characters going down, but nothing that's going to be too lethal on this occasion. And Aatrox is flashing up red at top lane, and there's going to be blood well popped. Xyras has to pull himself back. He's quite weak. Still low, Jarvan's at this bot lane, looking for some pressure.
Yeah, worth noting, he was very fortunate that Vi showed herself when she did. He was just about thinking about that dive when Vi came into the vision range of that pink ward that's in that little bit of river brush there at the end of the river. If that had not happened, if he had gone for that dive and Vi had come in, that would have been disastrous, because a 3-on-3 under tower at this level is just going to destroy anyone. And Jarvan may be tanky, but he's not going to be able to tank more than 2 or 3 shots safely. So very, very fortunate on his part, but a little bit of poor timing perhaps on Fizzin.
Oh, mid lane, Alberto has been caught between a rock and a hard place, and that's going to be Overpow going in. Charm lands though. Can they turn this one back around? Ignite as well. Overpow could be falling, and that's first blood going into the hands of Alberto. Perfect charm there. Really surviving by the skin of his teeth, but all the important thing that matters, first blood to Ari.
Yeah, I was surprised as Overpow there. I'm pretty sure he was not expecting her to survive either the force pulse or to land that charm. So unfortunate from the perspective of Overpow, but that's going to give Ari a nice bit of gold there. She's gone back, picked up double Dorans, has the Sork shoes now. She's actually behind on CS, which could be awkward. Vandanoop catches Fat Mama.
They do a bot lane, and that's going to be a kill picked up just from Zyra. No assist whatsoever from Caitlyn. So again, the Zyra support just coming good there, and we'll pick up the kill at the bot lane. It's not been a very happy, comfortable one thus far at bot for Team Property. Selva is starting to get ahead of Corki now. 55 CS to 36. That's a big chunk of difference at 7 minutes 40 through the game. So Ari's going to have to really kind of push forward that early advantage. With the first blood, it's looking like that's exactly what they're going for. Riftwalk, Spirit Rush comes in. Charm this time does go slightly awry. Had that advantage, Overpower would definitely have been dead. Can they pick up the pieces? No, they can't. And so, even though Charm did come good for Alberto, first time for first blood, that time, slightly a miss.
Yeah, well, fortunately this time, from the perspective of Cassidy, it was under his own tower as opposed to the previous one. But, yeah, I'm a little bit surprised, actually, at just how much work Vandanoop has been doing in this bot lane. I don't know if you've been noticing, but he has been landing almost all of his grasping roots, and it's part of that that's been punishing Kestrel so badly. Xaxis just having to jump away there from a potential dive at the top lane. But, like, as I'm saying, he is just absolutely brutalizing them at the moment, both Sona and Corki getting caught quite often. And you saw before, going for that almost like a solo kill versus 2 there.
Yeah, I completely agree. Hit the nail on the head there. That Vandanoop has been doing work at bot lane. And this is something that a lot of AD carries in League of Legends fail to realise, that supports early game do just as much, if not more damage than AD carries, especially if you're playing a support like Zyra and you're landing those grasping roots on a frequent basis. So Vandanoop's presence has been phenomenal. That first grasping roots that he landed actually put Caitlyn ahead. Meanwhile, on top lane, Dominus has been popped off. Here comes Xaxis, Dark flighting away back to his tower just to get to safety.
Yeah, so Renekton kind of giving Aatrox a hard time at the moment. 72 CS to 52. That's a pretty big gap at this stage, but over time that's going to decrease, and Aatrox will probably outscale Renekton. Yes, Renekton might have more kind of AoE threat, but Overpower in the mid lane is going aggressive.
Yeah, Flag and Drag will be landing on Alberto. There's the Cataclysm as well, just finalising the kill. And Cassidy will pick that one up, so getting a bit of revenge for that first blood. Jarvan coming down now. Are they going to get the pick and transfer it into a dragon? Doesn't look likely, because the bot lane is still fairly healthy from Team Property.
So this is the part where in solo queue we start crying about why no ban Kassadin, because he started with that tier build. That is essentially saying, I'm going for the late game here, I'm going to play defensively, but he's actually ended up picking up a kill. I'm not entirely sure what that amplifying tone is going to build into, possibly a haunting guise, but He is now looking quite scary in spite of the CS difference, because now is kind of Kassadin's time to shine. Now he can start roaming around the map, abuse that blue buff, abuse that mana pool, get around the map incredibly fast, and then have a big presence when he arrives.
I wonder if that Amplifying Tome is going to something like Seeker's Arm Guard as well, Spud, for potentially the Zhonya's Hourglass. I'm not too sure. Only time's going to tell here from Overpower, but speaking of which, he jumps in, does a fair amount of burst damage to Hilberto's Ari, and Vi is thinking about coming down to bot lane. So Fizzin has been very active in the jungle thus far, has to be said, and looking for one more gank here. Doesn't look like it's going to happen for a little while. That being said though, Caitlyn did just push the lane, but they have kind of their spidey senses tingling. You can see from their positioning they think something's up.
Yeah, and in fact both of the junglers are camping in this bot lane. They both know where the other one was last, essentially, at this point. So they kind of feel like maybe they are still there, but I think Jankos has underestimated the patience of Fizzin right now. He is sticking around and he's been there for a good couple of minutes, maybe even by now. Actually, he's thinking, he's gone. Kassadin going top though, by the looks of it.
Yeah, he is going to go for top. Important to mention, Dominus was just burnt. Both the top laners really going head to head there. It's like a battle of wits, a battle of patience. Who's going to last longer in this 1 versus 1 duel to the death? Kassadin coming around right now. Xaxis will be engaging. Ignite as well. First Slice and Dice lands. Null Sphere as well though. Will be silencing this one out. Flash is burnt from Zyras. And that's going to be the Dominus and also Flash. And with Overpower at top, instantly Property are looking to pick up this Drake. Very smart, quick reactionary play here from Team Property, and they should be picking this one up for free. There we go. Vi smites it down. Drake for no kill.
Oh, H2k though. Overpower. Oh, Renekton. Hey.
Looks like he's going to get the kill. Yes, he will.
Yeah, that was nicely played by him. Kind of reading what Renekton was likely to have done. Jankos in the mid lane in a lot of trouble.
Been jumped on from Vi. Here comes Ari from the side as well, flying and dragging away though. Ignite's taking down. Spirit Rush will finalize the kill.
So that dragon play definitely kind of was a good reaction, but it has given H2k actually probably more advantage in the immediate term. Thanks to that kill on Jarvan that they just managed to get, I won't say by luck, but by a mistake from Jarvan, it's kind of equalized up the tower advantage. But if Jarvan had survived there to do a little bit of wave clear, that would have actually come out in the favor of H2k. They were able to take that tower down quite significantly because of Overpower's presence in that top lane. But there is a fight kicking off.
Fizz is not in a good position here as the crescendo comes down. Vanderloop will be falling. Selva, 90 caliber net and the barrier as well, in conjunction with one another. Here comes the ace in the hole, picks up the kill on Fizzin. So that is going to be a 1-for-1 trade overall, with Selva picking up the blue. Nice play from Kassadin. Rift walking in, forcing Vi to actually take the blue itself. Therefore, Ari did not get it, and now that has been transferred to Selva. Also, in the meanwhile, top tower was traded for mid, so that is 1-to-1 on the tower war.
Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to sound the Medjai's alert. Overpower has built a Medjai Soul Stealer, and yes, Kassadin is a champion that snowballs really hard, but that is a statement of confidence to a degree which, well, I mean, he's 2-1, 72 CS. Is it really warranted?
It's high risk, high reward, isn't it? Where if you start to get a couple kills together, suddenly you become this unstoppable killing machine, as Kassadin just rift walking in and crushing people in a heartbeat. But it is high risk in the sense that you do lose stacks if you die. So if you start making poor plays and you get caught out of position, the Medjai's may very well just be a waste of gold. Still yet to be seen. Overpower is a very, very strong player. He plays a crazy good Kassadin. So as you said, lots of confidence in himself and well placed in my opinion.
Yeah, we'll see if he's able to make it work. He's still very, very squishy though. Picking up those Sorcerer's Shoes, he hasn't gone for that Catalyst, hasn't gone for the Rod of Ages, so at the moment he could be so easily bursted down. It's going to require, you know, pixel perfect positioning to avoid losing any stacks that he picks up. However, Kassadin is very good at picking up stacks. He is the king of roaming around the map, being in the right fights, and then as a result swinging those right fights and getting away thanks to that rift walk without dying.
Very, very true. If you don't know much about Medjai Soul Stealer, I'm going to give you a bit of info. It grants 2 stacks for a kill, a 1 stack for an assist, max 20 stacks, and at 20 stacks you will get plus 15% cooldown reduction. If you happen to die, however, you will lose a third of your stacks. That's why it's high risk, high reward, and why Spuddington sounded off the Magi's alert just before, because it is not necessarily an item you see too often here, Spud.
No, really isn't. Especially when his opposite number, Ari, is still looking pretty good. 2 and 1 with 105 CS. That's more than Kassadin probably in terms of gold. 4,004, yeah, significantly more gold. You know, just, it's statement of confidence, as we said, but there is a fight in the bot lane.
Oh, Keleva's going to be falling from Corki, looking for the double kill. Are going to retort back on, but here comes Fizzin, right place at the right time. Both mid laners are also about to join the progress on this bot tower. Oh my god, Assault Battery with the longest range ever will be picking up that kill. Following on the flag and drag, Zyrez has also made a move down to bot lane, but it doesn't look like anything's going to happen there. Ari is now playing very aggressive on Vandernoop, who is forced to flash away. And that is going to be the end of all the action. That's a 2-for-1 trade at the end for Team Property. They're going to pick up this bot tower as well. And yes, chat, you are completely correct. I should mention that the stacks give you more ability power. It grants you 8 ability power per stack. That's the reason it's so strong.
Overpower is sitting right next to 3 people. He's okay. I was a little bit surprised he was just kind of not... He didn't try and ambush them, he just stood there, silent as a statue and not being caught out either. But now he may look to try and stop someone recalling. If he's got supreme game sense, he may be able to catch someone here. But Renekton knows he's been spotted out. He's going to be running. Don't know if Aatrox can chase him down. No, he can't. 1 minute 13 till Dragon, so there's not really any objective immediately for H2k to force. And this is actually a well-timed back by Team Property as a result.
Very true. Also laughing at chat, you're a wizard, Ari. Completely correct. Me and Pulsar spoke about this a lot in the past. Unfortunately, it's my accent. I can't do anything about that. If I say, what do you say, Spud? Ari?
Ari, yes.
It just, for me, it makes my brain melt. I can't do that. In team fights, I'll just revert back to what's natural. Unfortunately, that is Ari. Ari.
Try enunciating. Oh.
We are from completely different places in the UK, so I hope people understand. Regardless, though, I'll try my best not to make it sound like I'm from Harry Potter.
You're Hagrid. You are actually Hagrid. But regardless, I mean, you're built like Hagrid too. But regardless, Vandernoop playing with fire at the moment, or a Foxfire Ari, who is sitting on a ward though. So maybe getting that root down. And I'd be surprised if he went for an engage there. Though they do have multiple wall jumping abilities pretty close by. It looks like they're just going to exert that pressure, forcing the enemies away and looking to get that wave cleared down the mid. But they don't want to fight this right now. They don't know where Corki is and they know Caitlyn isn't available. Dragon is going to be the next point of contention.
Definitely, it has just spawned a few moments previous. Assault and Battery from Fizzin, going Vault Breaker into that, instantly pops down. Stranglethorns comes out, but only hits on Fizzin. Meanwhile, Crescendo Land, this is much better from Team Property. The question is though, Celebra's at the back of the team fight. He is just picking up people left, right and centre. He's going to soon finalise on some kills you have to feel. Jarvan falls down. Kestrel with such low HP in the back lines. Now Celeba's going to be focused out. That was a 3-for-1 trade. I honestly felt like Celeba could have done a bit more from that position. Was by and large left completely open for the first 10-15 seconds of that engage. Regardless though, that is going to transition into a free Drake coming in from Team Property. So game number 1 apparently went very one-sided to H2k, 16-3. Got to say, Team Property bouncing back with a vengeance here.
Yeah, now significantly ahead, and that was a really good initiate by Fizzin. That is why Vi has become very popular all of a sudden. It's because everyone suddenly remembered, wait, she has an initiate, a literally unstoppable initiate once she's locked onto you. From, if you count Vault Breaker, probably not far off the same distance as Malphite. But she has a lot more damage built into her kit as well. She's super bursty, and that enables those early ganks to be really brutal on top of that. And also, unlike Jungle Malphite, she has a clear.
It was kind of strange in that fight as well, where I feel there was like a conflict in interest in terms of focus. Caitlyn did a lot of damage, but they only picked up Sona. It's like every time somebody got low, they switched focus to someone with high HP, rather than finishing off the kills. Regardless though, everything being said, yes, Team Property came out well ahead in that fight, 3-1 and a Drake, but Spud, in terms of gold, there's not a huge difference, just about 3,000, 2-2 on towers. H2k is still well and truly in this matchup.
Yeah, and it's worth noting a lot of their gold is focused on Corky, though. So Team Property, if they lose that one man, they are going to have a lot of problems in a sustained fight. Yes, Ari can burst someone out, but they're dealing with guys with revival passes. They're dealing with guys who are all building extra health, apart from Caitlyn. And actually, wait, can you actually read how many stacks are on the Medjais? Because
if you click on Kassadin and hover over, it says 1, I believe.
Okay, because I wasn't sure if that was part of the graphic, because it's quite like it's like a white on white.
It is. It's
no,
not.
I see what you mean.
It's not the greatest design ever, but I believe it's 1, purely on the basis that the last fight didn't go too great. So, you know, we were speaking about being high risk, high reward. Thus far, it's not necessarily worked out too well. Here comes Fizzin at the top lane. Those axes is very squishy still for an Atrox. Instantly went for Blade of the Rune King. Here comes the Assault of the Battery underneath the tower. His axes will be falling down again. Vi's had a phenomenal game here. Everywhere across the map. They need to be careful though, not to get too aggressive, not to get too ballsy, because Kassadin will do quite a bit of damage. I say that as a Null Sphere does nothing to Ari though. Nice.
Yeah, that is the problem with going Medjais. It's an item that makes you snowball harder, but it's hard to get the snowball rolling because it's such an inefficient choice early on. That means, well, yes, right now he's got that Haunting Guise, but that's his only damage item. He's got a decent mana pool. But, you know, it's really not a fabulous Kassadin right now. He's 2-1, 120 CS, falling behind on the farm, not really picking up the kills, has committed a lot of gold on an inefficient item and is getting slightly under-leveled as well.
Yeah, and you actually called this right at the beginning. I was thinking that the Amplifying Tome may have gone into a Seeker's Arm Guard, into a Zhonya's Hourglass, but you were dead on the money, Spud. It's going to be a Haunting Guise. So, not doing a great deal of damage, as we've mentioned previously. It's going to have to come down to H2k really starting to win in these team fights, maybe getting some picks, allowing Kassadin to get into that scary stage of the game. Because right now, as we saw before, when he fired across the Null Sphere onto Hulberto, it did absolutely nothing, like 2 bars of health. That's not the scary Kassadin we're used to seeing.
It's actually a simple point of like, sorry. Like damage statistics as to why Haunting Guise is good on Kassadin. Because of the way Riftwalk stacks up, there's no stacking of the AP scaling because that would scale to insanity. So that you only get extra base damage, and that makes spell penetration much more valuable if you're building a large mana pool and then relying on your Riftwalk stacks for your damage. It also gives him a little bit of tankiness, which means he can jump on people like that. So, you know, it's not that uncommon of a choice. It's certainly very solid. If he goes for Renekton here, though, I don't see it working out for him.
Yeah, Renekton is a bit too beefy right now. So the Fire Cape and the Giant Spell, that's a lot of health on the Crocodile. Here comes Assault and Battery, though. Vandenoob has been caught once again. That's not been the first time in this matchup. 2 or 3 times in actual fact for the Assault and Battery. So Fizzin and Vandenoob must have some bad blood somewhere along the line. Fizzin's going to pick up the double golems, and with this pick for 18 seconds longer, Vandenoob will be in the death chamber. They very well may try and pick up this top tower. Need to be careful, because if the Dark Flight and the Cataclysm come in conjunction underneath this tower, it could be curtains for them. In fact, they're going to be engaging hard. Cataclysm goes in, but Janko's bursted in the instant there. Blood Bowl's been used. Overpower flashing away with the Riftwalk. Here comes Kelva from the back line. Has been stunned, however. Ruthless Predator from Zyraz now chasing under that tower. Has the damage been done? The deception of the Orb of Deception, I should say, very narrowly missing Kelva. If that landed, he definitely would have been dead. But they will pick up this tower regardless. A 2-for-0 exchange. Team Property well and truly on top.
Yeah, and again, one of those weaknesses of building a somewhat squishy Kassadin build, which Medjais leads to being, is that you're easier to dive. He's not as strong in this environment. However, he is now chasing down Hilberto. If he knows where the opponents are, he can definitely chase them. Fizzin may have just killed himself because he tried to stop running from Overpower who's going in.
Just doesn't do enough damage, and Overpower's been baited here. Nice grasping roots. However, will it save Overpower's life? Yes, it will, especially as the Rift Walk comes back up, and Overpower is playing this one hyper aggressive. The only cavalry he has, the only health that he has comes in. It's going to be the barrier bait coming about, and Fizzin claims the kill. Overpower way too greedy on that exchange.
I thought he was literally just planning to stop the recon. No, that was worth it. That was completely worth it if they don't realise what's going on here. But Team Property are smart. They've called this. They've realised what H2k were up to there. Vandenoob lands the Grasping Roots, but I think they're just going to go for this.
Yeah, Janko's jumping in. Here comes the flag and drag as well. Ace in the hole will be claiming the kill onto Hilberto. Now they're aiming at Fat Mama, who's been slowed from the Blade of Torment. Not looking good for him. Picks up the double kill. So Seliva's now starting to explode. Fizzing going into the 1 versus 4. Not too sure about that one, especially when Zyrus is so low. However, Corki comes around from the backside. So even though they didn't quite get the play working out from Overpow, they do pick up a couple kills off the back of it. So H2k still in this matchup. They are starting to hemorrhage gold though. 6.2k behind now at 25 minutes.
And I think part of the reason they're having such trouble at the moment is straight up that Vandenoob, but he was a really aggressive supporting lane and it really worked out for them, but he's continuing to be aggressive and look for aggressive grasping roots against Vi, who is showing her mechanical skill. I think at least 3 or 4 times now I've seen her use Vault Breaker, get rooted, but the animation for Vault Breaker will still happen. It will still move her while she's rooted. And the same is true of her ultimate, so she's able to lock onto Zyra and just blast right through the grasping roots, which means obviously that if Zyra is overextended looking for that aggressive grasping roots, she just gets focused down. She's super squishy. She might get the Stranglethorns off, she might not, but she's not standing where she wants to be.
Yeah, we were speaking before about the Soul Stealer. How many stacks does it have? 0. Nil point. So Kassadin's not looking too strong right now. However, Seliva, we look at his items: Infinity Edge, Phantom Dancer, and a pickaxe, which I'm assuming will go into a Last Whisper. If that's the case, Seliva will be doing a lot of damage. Kassadin, it's a case of just trying to stall this one out, allow him to get a few more items. Seeker's Arm Guard has been picked up as well. So if we kind of fast forward 5 minutes here, if for some reason Team Property haven't tried to pick up the Baron or take down an inhib, and Kassadin's been allowed to farm, he will still get to that scary period, Spuddington. So it's really important here, from Team Property's perspective, that they don't allow H2k to bounce back.
Yeah, it's definitely true. They have the power right now, essentially, and with Vi, they might be able to pick people off sufficient. Oh, also, glasses on or glasses off? Glasses off. But regardless, like, they have just so much potential to catch someone out, like Overpower if he goes aggressive here, because Vi is right off the side, but there's 5 guys there, so maybe not.
Yeah, with Renekton at top lane and not actually having a teleport, it wouldn't have been too wise to engage in that 4 versus 5 situation. It would have probably spelled out doom for them. So yeah, Renekton's going to finish off farming at top and now move himself into position. They need to start being aggressive, and that's exactly what they're going to do. As you mentioned again, going on Vandenoob, here comes the Stranglethorns. Is it enough damage? No, he's escaped by the skin of his teeth, literally on about 30 hit points, and will manage to get away. So Assault and Battery for Stranglethorns utilised there. That's a lot of AoE taken out of the equation from H2k with just the Assault and Battery. So looks like they're going to try and push this one down with Vandenoob having to recall.
Yeah, and Vandenoob does not have the money for Home Guard right now, so actually they're going in!
Oh my god, Crescendo goes down, Dogfight as well, Hilberto's on the side, getting completely free damage. However, Corki, the AD carry, has been picked up. Jankos now is being focused from Hilberto, who will pick up that kill finally with the auto attack. Meanwhile though, Seliva, the guy I was talking about previously, who's starting to get big, gets the double kill, looking for the triple kill as well. Headshot procs off onto Renekton, but it's not going to be enough damage. The problem there is that Hilberto just went full on Red Mist Descended Tunnel Vision on Jarvan. In doing so, left the rest of his team open for Seliva to crush through.
Yeah, you cannot afford to lose your AD carry in a scenario like that. Kaylin was just left to do almost as much damage as she wanted at all, and that just meant constant DPS. She is, as you mentioned, starting to get to the point of being really dangerous again. She's passed through the kind of windless stage. She's now serious amounts of gold in her sails, and these are very mixed metaphors. But essentially, once she's got that last whisper, she hits danger period again, because there is no one she can't shred through, and she has also got the range advantage, which is just so important, it cannot ever be overstated.
Yeah, and she has just finished off Last Whisper, so I was saying before, Team Property need to kind of get some team victories under their belt and maybe push some more objectives. They've not been able to do that. They got on the receiving end of a bit of a battering there, so it's gone from kind of very comfortable to, oh, this is getting quite dangerous, this is getting quite deadly. And with the Last Whisper, as you mentioned, and such a good front line for Caitlyn, you got the Kassadin jumping in, and then the Flag and Drag Jankos went into Cataclysm, Stranglethorns, Aatrox in your face. There's not a great deal you can do to get to the backlines unless you do this and catch them out of position. But in doing so now, Fizzin is completely isolated from the rest of his team. However, H2k looking to go back on this one. Look at how much damage Caitlyn is doing. Ace in the hole comes about. Who's going to block it? Going to be Hilberto. And now Zyra is jumping in with a slice and dice. That's one of the issues though. Caitlyn's very strong. If you focus on her, she can 90 caliber net and flash away, and suddenly Vi's in a really precarious position. Being so low has to recall. They may very well go for this Baron or try and trap it out.
I can't see them actually going for that. It seems very, very risky for them to actually start it, and indeed they are not going to do so, and because of that property are just going to call that bluff. But worth noting there, Caitlyn no longer has flash. That is actually really, really important because of the way Vi is initiating these fights. Without that flash, she can't then bait in Vi like she did in that last fight. And actually, Team Property have finangled their way into a very good angle here. Jankos is going to be just kind of backing away, but free tower, why not?
Yeah, really well played from Team Property, realizing that they were trying to do some kind of flirty bait on Baron. They're like, okay, well, we'll just go straight for your tower then. We'll get that free second tier tower in mid, which is going to give us even more map control now over your jungle. Now the only second tier tower standing is a bot lane for H2k. So yeah, it's important to mention that also Fizzin burnt his flash in the process not to get killed from Caitlyn, so that's another kind of box tick from H2k's perspective, but definitely fully agree with you. Caitlyn's flash being down is really significant. They're going to be picking up this blue. Again, with taking down this second tower in mid, it just allows them to put more pressure on H2k's jungle.
Yeah, so H2k now actually want to force this Baron because they know there's a big wave at that bot lane. They know Corki could have gone for that red buff, and they want to kind of get something from it because they know they're going to be forced to commit mans, to the technical term, to the bot lane. They're getting those roots down, but not anything from it. So they need to clear that bottom wave, and Corki is going to go and do it. But if H2k can force that Baron or force a fight as a result, this will work out really in their favor, and Overpower is trying.
Oh wow, Kassadin is just starting to get that ball rolling in terms of damage. It wasn't Sona, which is one of their squishier members, so that is definitely one thing to note. But still, Kassadin is going to start to get very scary. Caitlyn is already scary. Aatrox is doing quite a bit of damage, but it's not necessarily damage that he wants to bring. It's just mayhem. It's chaos. Jumping in the middle of the opposition team, knocking them, displacing them, and then consistently slowing. They could be caught out of position here. Celever on the sides. The Grasping Roots actually misses, which is uncharacteristic from Bandanu. Pallet landed on Renekton, and he could have honestly gone all in there and picked up a free kill. But regardless, Bolt Breaker from Fizzin. Again, they're going to be disengaging.
And I think it's, at the moment, one of the things that's really, really keeping Property kind of keeping them from being forced into lose-lose situations is actually Sona's heal right now. They keep having to face check stuff, they keep having to face check around Baron, like you saw there with Renekton taking a decent bit of punishment for it. Sona's heal is actually keeping them in contention, and also Sona for me right now is jazzing the hell out. Look at that.
I've had this bug a few times where she kind of goes crazy, but regardless, Drake has been started right now from H2k. That's going to be for free, and it's going to be no Baron attempt from Team Property in retaliation, so free objective is always a good thing under any circumstance. Walking on the trap there, Fat Mama, and yeah, smart play from Xaxus, just going to be kind of aggroing Baron, but actually takes the damage himself rather than getting it on the support from Team Property.
Alright, so ward control actually now in the favor of Team Property in this area, but they have to be very, very careful, and this is where Kassadin actually starts to shine. He really, really punishes supports if you know where they're going to be trying to ward. Whereas the only thing they've really got to do that from Team Property is Vi, and yes, that's really, really solid, but if she's got no follow-up, she's not going to kill you. Kassadin, if he catches out a support one-on-one, they're dead. There's not a lot they can do unless they had people immediately nearby. So if they can read the map correctly, a Kassadin can just catch out your support, prevent you from getting that ward control, and then you can just kind of slowly move your own support up and just kind of eke away at the enemy's control. It actually looks like they started the Baron there.
It was a case that the Damascene standard came over from Jankos to scout it out. He aggroed Baron, and then it started attacking Sona, so it was a bit of a scumbag move from Jankos there. Very smart play. Regardless though, Zhonya's Hourglass has finally been finished off on Kassadin. That means he can be much more aggressive, jumping into the middle of the fray and causing mayhem alongside the Atrox, but yet to be seen if it's going to be enough damage to just burst down the likes of Corki. Right now, probably not. But if he can get a few more items under his belt, could very well be the case. That is a Necatron cloak coming out for Corki. So going to be interesting to see what he picks up from that one. Could very well be a Quicksilver Sash. I'd expect to see a Quicksilver Sash here, Spud. Could also be a GA, I guess.
Honestly, for me, I don't really know. Both of them would be very valuable, but neither is going to matter if he gets taken out by overpowered Celeber. He's actually okay there. And the reaction to that is to start Baron. I'm a little confused.
Yeah, me too. When your AD carry gets chunked down to like half of his hit points, starting Baron's probably not the greatest idea. And they took quite a bit of damage from that collectively. There's a lot of scouting agents right now as well, without needing to ward down from the side of H2k. It can throw in the Damascene stand, they can throw in those plants as well from Zyra, from Vandanu, but in the meanwhile, their bot tower is taking a bit of punishment right now, just from a creep wave, a very big creep wave at that. This is going to allow, with Kassadin going down to bot lane to try and steal away this red buff, but I thought for a second that Damascene stand had stole that one away. Nope, Zyrus has picked that one up.
Yeah, this is essentially the reverse situation from earlier on. Property now need to make something happen because their creep waves are the ones that are pushing, and H2k clearly knew that this was what was going to happen, so they're going to go for it.
Oh, Crescendo and Ari locking together and just crushing down everybody. Fizzin coming in, forcing Celeber away from this fight. This is a beautiful team fight right now from Team Property. Here comes Cataclysm finally, too little too late from H2k's perspective. That is a 3-for-0 exchange. Dark Flight utilized from Xaxis just to get him out of dodge. Overpower is still full HP. That's the only kind of silver lining. However, he's not going to be able to do anything against 5 strong players from Team Property, and understandable as you'd expect. They're just going to be instantly transitioning from that team fight into a free Baron.
Yeah, I'm actually a little bit surprised they didn't go for an inhib tower myself, because to my mind, for their team, that is actually more valuable at the moment, because if they've got an open inhibitor, you can see, you remember that Baron happening, and meanwhile Renekton is just abusing his animation there. But if they've got a free Baron, yes, that's going to make them an even stronger team fight right now, and they are definitely stronger than H2k. But they're not strong enough to go for dives. They are not, and they weren't before. They had to struggle a long time to get that fight there, and it worked out really well for them. But now, I think H2k are still very capable of stalling out this game for longer, whereas if they'd just gone and prioritized the inhib tower, they might still have been able to get that Baron, but they could have then had somewhere to force fights all the time, and there would be no way for H2k to stall. They'd have to go in and fight or really, really suffer the consequences.
Yeah, what I would say about H2k's composition is they are very good at dealing with dives. Stranglethorns, Cataclysm and Dark Flight are going to lock down everybody. If you dive this squad, you have that potential for just getting crushed in the process. So definitely true. You can see the Fat Mama there flashing up red in mid lane, but it should be fine. But as you say, H2k are more than capable of pulling this one out. The Zeraph's Embrace has just been taken there from Kassadin as he gets the max stats on his tier of the Goddess. That's going to be a nice bit of sustaining damage. In fact, it's been caught out, so Overpower's taking a lot of damage here. Cyrus from the side, really pop up the Dominus. Here comes the Cavalry in the forms of Ari, but there's the Stranglethorns. H2k's access. In the meanwhile, this is a 3 versus 5 situation with 2 players occupying the bot lane. Celeber's now picking up kills left, right, and centre. That's the shutdown, and Zyra gets the kill. 3-for-0 trade coming in for H2k. That was a terrible fight coming in for Team Property, with Cyrus being caught out of position completely there. Corki and Jarvan were at bot lane. They could do nothing to stop that one. Sorry, Corki and Vi.
However, Kestrel did just manage to take an inhib tower down. Overpower's going to chase him, but I don't think he can fight this one-on-one. So yeah, in fact, he's not going to chase it, but actually, like, I don't hate that fight there. They lost 3 men. They lost 3 men's Barons, but they got that inhib tower, and that is critical. As I mentioned before, I would have prioritized an inhib tower for their current setup, over a Baron buff at all. So they've still got it on 2 important members. They've got that GL on Corke. They're basically hitting peak power spike now, essentially. This is kind of almost as strong as their team comp is going to get, and from now on it's only downhill in comparison to H2k. But they are really, really strong right now, and they have a big objective to force, and there's not a lot H2k can do to stall it out.
Yeah, whereas they have a very strong dive composition when you're under a tower, not so much when there's a vulnerable inhibitor there. So definitely could be one of the plays that Team Property goes for. As you mentioned, GA has been picked up on Kestrel's Corki, and they have picked up that free dragon as well. So this is starting to get to the point where gold isn't as important overall, but actually, Zyrus has been caught again here. Ace in the hole coming out, flanking and dragging as well. Hilberto at the backside is trying to put down some damage. Kestrel comes in with the Corki. There's a lot of armor shred with Last Whisper and also Gatling gun, and that will force back H2k.
And they now need to force that inhib. There's a big wave at the top lane. That means someone is going to be forced to either deal with that or deal with bot. Sona can heal up Renekton, that's not a problem for them, so they just need to make sure no one from H2k can respond to that big wave at top, and they will likely secure a big chunk out of that top tower. That next wave is only, that next red wave of minions there is only going to serve to build up the blue wave even more, and that is going to mean a lot of damage on the tower, and they can now start poking away at this inhib.
They can. Fizzin charging up Vault Breaker. More for presence than anything else, going to be cancelling that one away. As you say, Inhib has taken some punishment. They're going for more. Grasping Roots comes through, just lands on Fizzin, who's fairly tanky, but he is going down fast. Here comes the Dark Flight and the Strangle Claws. That's a beautiful connected set of ultimates. But actually, Kestrel's coming out ahead here at the back lines. It's not being focused down. That's going to be Atrox falling after the Bloodwell's been popped off. That is a 3-for-1 trade. Double kill coming in from Hilberto. And the last remaining player is Silva, seeing his entire team crushed before his eyes. 2-for-4 exchange. That is going to be Inhibitor on top of it as well. Beautiful play coming in from Team Property. And I got to say that Kestrel's positioning thus far in this game has been awesome. Always at the back lines, always doing damage, flying in with a slice and dice. That's going to be GA being popped and the barrier as well. Can they pick up the kill afterwards? Looks very likely. Dominus has been used as well, and Celiva will be falling down for the ace.
I think that should be the game, actually, as a result of Celiva dying there. Zyras is having a bit of trouble tanking this out. He should be able to, though. They have got creeps incoming. We've got 6 seconds till Vandanoob is up. Zyras, please. Please, Zyras. He lives. The sustain of Renekton is too strong. But they will take away this Nexus pretty quickly. Jarvan's actually coming back in as well. They may be forced off this? No, they're going to get it. They're going to get it. That's my prediction. There you go. Right, okay. So, very good team fight at the end there. And Fizzin did a really funky maneuver. He actually Vault Breakered in when he was on about 30% health, and then ulted out again. So he ended up kind of doing like a knock up on the way in and a knock up on the way out again, and it was a really weird kind of backwards and forwards sort of like being on a clothesline almost. But regardless, that brings us to 1-1 in this best of 3 series now. Team Property versus H2k. We should hopefully be able to get the next game up relatively shortly, and it looks to be a good one. That one was really good.
Yeah, I mean, we said before that teams are capable of bouncing back. I am actually making the lobby right now, guys, so we should have the third game coming up very shortly. But we said before, didn't we, that H2K won the first game very comfortably, 16-3, but right from the offset, you could see that Team Property were hungry for this game. They played very well. Their conjuncture overall on the map globally was just there. Fizzin had a really good game. He had presence, he was almost omnipresent, just in every single lane simultaneously, was making plays, taking down objectives. Very well played by him. So yeah, I think game 3 fireworks are going to happen. It's really anybody's at this point.